I'm really grateful to be here today, Wednesday. I love Wednesdays. I get to go to London. I'm sorry you went all the way to London from Los Angeles and you have to hear a guy from Los Angeles, but you never know. God works in mysterious ways. Ha! Oh, geez. So, uh, so I'm here. I have alcoholism, and I'm an alcoholic. So I just like to say that as an alcoholic, I've become allergic to alcohol. For me, that's what it means to be alcoholic. I can never ever drink alcohol successfully again today ever. And so that's my alcohol problem. I'm allergic to it. I can't drink it. I have another problem. That problem is called alcoholism, and that seems to be a disease, a disease that centers in my mind. This disease talks to me in my own voice. I believe everything that it says, and this disease manifests itself as a fault-finding, opinionated mind. A fault-finding, unsatisfiable, opinionated mind. And so I walk around in the world with this self-talking voice that's never satisfied, no matter what it gets, even when it gets exactly what it wants. And it's an unbelievable fault-finding machine. Everywhere I look, I can find faults with everything. I don't know why I'm wired that way, but that's the way I'm wired. And so, because of this, and this alcoholism, this disease that centers in my mind, this alcoholism that is the power for my life, that speaks to me in my own voice, it also has another set of characteristics. It's got an infantile ego, and this infantile ego is always in a hurry, and it's easily frustrated, and it can't stand the word no. And so I go out into the world with this mind, and I'm constantly in conflict with everyone and everything. And because of that, I tend to be restless, irritable, and discontent most of the time. As an alcoholic with alcoholism, as an untreated alcoholic with alcoholism. And what was pointed out to me is that there's two treatments for alcoholism, and this is true for it's my experience. There's two treatments for alcoholism. One is an over-the-counter drug called alcohol. It works perfectly. For me, it did everything I ever needed. It made me handsome, smart, tall, funny, fast, courageous. It gave me everything I ever needed, everything I lacked in my life. Over-the-counter alcohol worked and supplied me with all of that. And then eventually I used it so much because it worked so well and made me feel so good. I used it so much that I became allergic to it. And so my best treatment for alcohol has been taken away from me. And it just doesn't work anymore. I take it and it makes me feel terrible and it makes me do crazy things. And it doesn't it doesn't make me faster, smarter, stronger anymore. It makes me sad and miserable and alone and broke. And so because of that, I came into Alcoholics Anonymous, where I thought they were going to teach me how to not drink one day at a time. You don't drink. And they were going to teach me how to not drink. And then this wonderful guy that I always thought I was going to come to the surface. And without the alcohol and all the stupid behavior and all the blackouts and all the problems that alcohol was causing me, I thought that I was going to become this wonderful guy that I always thought I was inside. I think I'm kind and generous and loving and compassionate and caring and open-minded. I think I'm all of these things. But in the real world, I lie and I cheat and I steal and I manipulate and I do crazy things. And then I blame all of that bad behavior on alcohol and you. You're the reason I lie. You're the reason I cheat. You're the reason I steal. Because I had to, not because I wanted to. Not because I'm a liar, a cheater, and a stealer, but because I had to because of circumstances. And so I come into AA And they teach me how to not drink one day at a time. If you don't want to get drunk today, you don't take the first drink, which is great. It's so simple. You just don't drink alcohol. That's it. Just don't drink today, no matter what. But unfortunately, because of this mind that I have that is constantly talking to me in my own voice, telling me what's wrong with you and the world and everything else, I need something to kill that pain. I need something to kill the pain of being me with my voice, with my alcoholism. And so not drinking doesn't do that. Not drinking makes it louder. Not drinking makes me worse. Now, I'm not saying it got worse right away. It got really good right away. When I first came in, not drinking was fantastic. I got a job back. I had my girlfriend stayed with me. I got to keep my driver's license. I started to get money in the bank. I had some new friends around AA. Things got really good right away because I wasn't drinking. But at about a year and a half of sobriety, that good feeling was starting to wear off. I wasn't that excited about my AA friends anymore. I wasn't that excited about the job that I was so excited to have when I needed a job and I couldn't hold one. And I wasn't that excited about the place I was living anymore. I needed a better one. And so over time, this voice started talking to me again and telling me what's wrong with my life and what I need to change. And, at the end of the first step, it says, I stand ready to do anything which will lift my merciless obsession. If your merciless obsession today is to drink alcohol, that was mine for a long time. And I prayed every day to a God that I had no understanding of, none. I prayed to that thing every day to remove my obsession. And one day the obsession went away. It was the craziest thing, just went away. Now, once in a while, people will be drinking and I'll feel sorry for myself that they can drink and I can't. But I don't obsess about alcohol anymore. The obsession's been relieved. I have a mind that tells me alcohol might be a good solution again. All the time it tells me that. But I don't have to drink today. And I know that alcohol is not going to work for me. So, without alcohol, now I've got to do something else to kill this pain. And the 12 steps, what it says in the beginning of that book, is that these 12 steps are a group of principles, spiritual in their nature, which if practiced as a way of life can enable me, can remove my obsession to drink and enable me to become happily and usefully whole. That's what I want today. I want to be happily and usefully whole. I want to be present in this moment. I want to experience life as it's happening right now. And so my merciless obsession today is not alcohol, but the disease, the alcoholism, is still mercilessly obsessed to be happy. It's mercilessly obsessed to be self-satisfied. It's obsessed to have the right amount of money in the bank, the right wife, the right car, the right job, the right house. And it's talking to me all the time about what's not right and how happy I would be if I got it right. And the book also says that I have a delusion that one day I'm going to wrest satisfaction and happiness out of this world if I only manage well. That delusion is in alcoholism. That's part of my alcoholism delusion, that one day I'm going to be happy if I just manage well, if I just control my wife, if I just control the amount of money I have in the bank, if I just control my job. And if I just go to the right meeting and pray on my knees facing in the right direction and pray to the right God and say his name just right at the right time, all of a sudden, boom, I'm going to be okay. I haven't found that God yet. I haven't found the right name or the right position or the right direction. But what I have found is a relationship with a higher power that I get to have right now in this moment, right here, right now in this moment, right now in this room. Right now I get to start coming to believe that there's a power greater than me and that power is the power that could restore me to sanity. I have lost the job of restoring me to sanity. That self-talking mind, that self-talking voice that's talking to me all the time, that's me trying to restore me to sanity. That's me trying to figure out the thing that's going to give me peace. and I can't do it. The second step says, you've lost the job. What I have to do now is come to believe. By doing something, I'm going to come to believe that there's a higher power, and that higher power is the thing that restores me to sanity in this moment, right here, right now. That's why that what it says at the end of the second step is so important. It says every AA meeting, it says true humility and an open mind. The humility to know that I have a disease and that this disease is trying to restore me to sanity and I can't do it. The humility to know that I'm not the one keeping me sober today. And an open mind, which would be a mind that's open right now, open to something new, open to new ideas. It's open. It's not talking to itself with all the information that it already knows. It's open. It's let go of all of its old ideas. It's open. True humility and an open mind can lead me to faith. So if I come to step 2 with an open mind and some humility from step 1, knowing that I'm the wrong power for my life, that then true humility and an open mind, you're going to read it. Sometimes my open mind is too open. True humility and an open mind can lead me to faith. And every AA meeting, including this one right here, right now, every AA meeting is an assurance that God will restore me to sanity if I rightly relate myself to Him. So meetings don't restore me to sanity. Meetings are awesome. Meetings remind me that I have alcoholism and that this self-talking mind that's talking to me is not the power for my life, not the right power. Meetings remind me that I can't drink. Meetings remind me that there's a program of recovery and maybe I should be practicing something. But meetings don't heal alcoholism in this moment. But if I rightly relate myself to God, or to Him, to it, to her, whatever it is you want to call it, to something. If I rightly relate myself to God, which means, God, here I am. Here I am. I'm sitting in a chair. I'm in a meeting right now. My mind's talking to me. I'm judging the speaker. Could you help me not judge the speaker? Could you help me hear what's being said? Could you help me be present? Could you help me be here in this room? Could you help me be the man or the woman or the person that you want me to be right now? Could you relieve me of the bondage of self right now? Could you help me be present? And I relate whatever's going on in my life to this power right now. And then I start to have an experience. And I start to see that whenever I rightly relate myself to this thing, whatever it is, to something, I feel better in the moment that I'm doing it. And I have an experience of some sanity, of some peace. And I have it right now. And then it's mine. And now I am coming to believe, not because you told me something, not because I agree with you, not because I read some information out of a book, but because I rightly related myself to this thing. And all of a sudden I find that I have some peace, and I have it right now, and it's mine. And I can give it away. I can start talking to myself about money again, or jobs, or girlfriends, or cars. Or I could just keep staying here right now, rightly relating myself to my higher power. And I could keep having the experience of coming to believe that when I rightly relate myself to a higher power, I am restored to sanity. And that's what step 2 is all about. It's not about being willing to believe. Nobody cares if you're willing. If you're willing, then there's some action that's attached to that. And that willingness has to be backed up with rightly relating. And when I do that, I have an experience. And when I have the experience, it's mine, and you can't have it. I wish I could give it to you. There's guys I wish I could give them time. I wish I could give them the experience of being restored to sanity, but I can't even give it to me. But when I rightly relate myself to this higher power, I find that things get peaceful. in my mind. And I have a new experience. And it's mine. And now I put together these experiences over and over and over again. One day at a time, one experience at a time, one moment at a time, being restored to sanity, one moment at a time. I have now a group of moments, a group of them. I have a bunch of them. They're all mine. And now, with all of that experience, I can make a decision. Step 3 was the most baffling thing I'd ever heard of. I'm going to decide to turn my will and my life over to the care of God as I understood him. I didn't understand him. I didn't know anything about him. I didn't want anything to do with him. I definitely didn't want him to know where I was because I didn't want to be killed by God, and that was my idea of what God was going to do if he found me. And they wanted me to make a decision to turn my will and my life over to it, which I didn't even know what my will or my life was. But having some experience with step 2, now I can make a decision to turn my will and my life, my thoughts and my actions over to the care of something that's greater than me that restores me to sanity every time I go there. Or I can make a decision to turn my will and my life over to the care of me and my disease, which wants me to drink and kill myself and hate my life. Those are my options. That's what I'm up against. So that decision, when I have some experience with coming to believe, is the easiest decision I ever had to make. In this moment right now, I can make that decision. Okay, power, here I am. Have my thoughts, have my actions. My actions right now are sitting in a chair. I give my sitting in a chair over to you, power, and my thoughts. Could you help me have an open mind? You can have all of my thoughts. That's what's being offered in AA. Now, that would be great. That's all you need. If you didn't have resentments and you haven't harmed anybody in the past, that's all you need. Steps 1, 2, and 3. But if you're like me, you've lived a life and created some wreckage and some past and some resentments and some harms, and all of that stuff gets to be cleaned up through the rest of the steps as a way of life so that I can be the man that God wants me to be today. And you know what I found for myself is that I really like being the man God wants me to be today. It makes me feel awesome to be the man that I think God wants me to be today. I don't get it right all the time, but I get to come here every Wednesday. And that's just amazing. And I appreciate you all so much, and I thank you for letting me share here today. And I can't wait to hear about how you're applying the program in your lives and what you're doing today. So thank you.
Thank you.